It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview Calista Mezzapelle, who is the manager for a club hockey team for the men's hockey, St. Cloud State University. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get into the sports industry?
So I've been around sports all my life. I played hockey for 13 years. I've officiated for 8 years. And probably since I was in high school, I really knew I wanted to major in sports management and work within sports because playing collegiately just wasn't an option for me because I didn't really get into the recruitment process. So I decided I wanted to switch into the more like business side of sports and be behind the scenes.
How did you know that you wanted to get involved in hockey being a referee?
I played hockey, like I said, for 13 years. And when I was 12, I started officiating and I really just got into it since I started. And I've been to different exposure camps across the country, and I've been recruited in a sense for officiating hockey. And one of the biggest reasons why I moved to Minnesota to go to college was so I could have a better chance at being recruited and officiating. So I've been doing a lot of high school hockey in Minnesota, which is like a big deal, and a lot of players go Division One who play in the state high school league. So it's highly competitive, and I love every bit of it.
What was your time like being the referee for the US hockey?
So for USA Hockey, I've been certified in USA Hockey for 8 years. I have my level 4, which is the highest certification that you can have in the country. And most of my youth hockey games, which are USA Hockey, take place on the weekends. And I try and stay local to where I live in St. Cloud and not travel as much for that. And then I have credentials in the Minnesota State High School League, and that is typically on my weeknights. I travel Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and I travel anywhere from 60 to 100 miles outside of St. Cloud, Minnesota to do games. We have a large area of school districts that my association covers. So I'm constantly on the road for that, and I have a lot of fun. The guys that I work with are absolutely amazing, and I couldn't ask for better guys to be on crews with, and we have a great time on the road together.
Can you talk about, of course, how you balance being a referee in hockey and going to college?
It's a lot because I do take 16 to 17 credits a semester on top of managing the hockey team, and then I work other jobs at St. Cloud State. I'm a teacher and I work in the intramurals and club sports office. So it's just a lot. I take a lot of morning classes, so I have the afternoons and the nights to travel, and that I don't really have to worry about any classes happening at that point. And then typically any free time I get, I try and study, whether it's individually or in a group. I'm usually at the library a lot. So it's just trying to fit everything into my schedule, and then also finding like some time to relax for myself because I am very overwhelmed, especially around this time of year.
That's pretty amazing that you are able to task all those things and still stay on top of things. What is the biggest difference in club hockey versus, of course, your Division One, Division Two or JUCO?
So NCAA schools, so hockey is an NCAA Division I and a Division III sport, and they get money from their school's athletics department to be able to give out scholarships, and the players don't necessarily have to pay for much or anything at all. Whereas if you're a club hockey team, which you would be in the American Collegiate Hockey Association, more than likely you don't get any funding from your school's athletic department. So the players pay dues, which can range anywhere from $1,000, which is on the cheaper end of things, upwards to $3,000 or $4,000. There are some club teams that do get funding from their school's athletic department, but they're typically from like smaller schools that are private and are able to give them that kind of money. So we don't have any type of like recruitment process. Like you'll try out for the team in August. But other than that, you pretty much pay for everything, and like you don't have it made like D1 athletes necessarily do. We take minivans on road trips, and there's 5 people in a hotel room. Meals are not paid for. You pay for your own meals. Things like that. We'll either practice like super early in the morning, or we practice really late at night, just to accommodate everyone's schedule. And typically, like, we get the last choice of ice time at our school's rink, because we do have a ice arena on campus here at St. Cloud State. So it's different, but honestly, it makes it a lot of fun, and we have a lot of team bonding experience just because of having to do everything together.
What are some of the roles and responsibility as a manager for the men's hockey team?
So I'm at every single practice. We practice Monday, Wednesday, Fridays from 8 to 9 a.m. So I help our coach run practice. And then after practice, I go do the laundry off campus, pay for it with my own money. So I'll do that after every practice. And I also do that after every game. And then during the week, I'm like putting in stats. I'm posting on our team social media page. Sometimes I'll just like hang out with the players because I am friends with all of them. And then game days, I'm like always at the rink like 2 hours before, and I basically do all the game day operations. And then I also am the main contact like with our conference that we're in and the league that we're in. During the week, I'm exchanging emails with them, making sure everything is good to go for us, and seeing where we fall in the standings every week.
I know with hockey and many hockey players like can break their sticks easily during ice and stuff. How many hockey sticks as a club hockey are y'all allowed to get?
So the players pay for all of their equipment. So if they break a stick, that's on them. That is not my problem that they broke their sticks. But typically every game I see about maybe 1 to 2 sticks being broken. But some of them on road trips, they'll bring like 3 different sticks just to be sure that they don't have to go buy a stick when we're in some random town in Wisconsin or North Dakota. Um, but all of their equipment is their own responsibility, so it's not my problem if they break their stick.
What does a typical game day look like for a hockey manager?
So I'm at the rink about 2 hours before puck drop. Right now with COVID, I can really only get in about 90 minutes before, but that doesn't make that much of a difference for me. So the first thing I do is I'll set up our locker room. So all of the jerseys, like I'll place them around the locker room, and I'll make sure everyone has a pair of game day socks, and that they have like a Gatorade towel, and that their personal water bottle is filled. Because of COVID, everyone has their own towels and their own water bottles. I do go grocery shopping in the morning for them on game days. So I'll get them like snacks, Gatorade, things like that. So I go and I'll like set up the table, and I'll make sure it has like hockey tape on it, or like screwdrivers, little things that the team may need themselves. And then I go and make sure that the speakers are working in the rink and the microphone is working, and I'll set up the clock and I'll start the countdown until warm-ups, and then I'll make sure that the officials get there. They all are my coworkers, so it's pretty easy. And I'll go make sure that they're there, give them their game day protocol. I'll make sure the visiting team has game day protocol set up, and I'll communicate with them. And then I'll fill out the score sheet with the rosters. And then during the game, I do the in-game music, I run the clock, I open the penalty box doors, I take different stats down, and I'll fill out the score sheet. And then after the game, I have to put in the stats for the game by midnight. And then sometimes I'll go do the laundry if it's not too late at night. If not, they just don't get laundry the next day. And I'll make sure the locker room's cleaned up and that all the players have left. So I'm really the first one there and I'm the last one out.
Can you talk about, of course, with COVID and stuff, how important is it sometimes whenever there might be a game on schedule, but then something might happen where like either one of your players got tested positive or another club team got tested positive? What happens, of course, in that instance when like the game gets canceled? Like, are you able to like make up it, and also are you able to do other jobs in the meantime?
So we've never had that happen, thankfully, knock on wood. We don't have the luxury of getting the 20-minute rapid nasal tests. So we get tested every Wednesday and every Sunday, and they're rapid tests. So we get them back within 24 hours. So we'll know before game days if there's a positive test, or we'll know like after our game weekends if there was a positive test. But thankfully we haven't had that happen, and we haven't had that happen with any of our opponents because they're all getting tested regularly as well. So I think it's just being vigilant and making sure that we all kind of limit our time going out or seeing other people. We try right now to only like hang out with each other. A lot of the guys live together, so that makes it easier that they're all just kind of seeing each other, and a lot of us like we all hang out outside of practices and games, so that also makes it easier that we're just kind of like in the same pod essentially. So yeah, if someone tests positive, we're all kind of gonna have to quarantine, but it's just nice that we're all trying to stay together and make sure that we're not going out as much.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before becoming a USA referee?
A lot of it has just been like communication and just how to stay calm and have a thick skin under stress. I've had some coaches or parents that maybe aren't the nicest and they like to yell, or they don't know the rules and they think they do. So I think it's just having a thick skin and being able to just kind of block it out and still stay focused on the game and making the right calls and just making sure the game is still fair. So that's, and then just also like communicating with coaches, because sometimes there's different ways that I'll communicate with a coach depending on like the situation in the game, and just having game management skills, because some games I treat every game differently. I'll treat a 1-1 tie differently than I am gonna treat a 9-0 game. So it's just how you approach every situation and making sure that you handle each situation in the correct manner.
What is something that you learn now that you didn't know before becoming a college hockey manager?
So I specialize in student athlete development and sports psychology. That's typically what I like to focus my research in for my major. I'm a sports management major. So a lot of it has just been learning how to communicate with each player individually, and knowing what they respond to and how they like to be talked to and how they like to be treated. Some of them I know if they have a bad period, I just won't even say a word to them because they don't want to talk to me. Some of them like to come and talk to me and ask me how they think that they performed that period, what their stats were that period. And also they like to have like a close relationship with me. So honestly, it depends on the player, and I've learned how to communicate with each of my guys, which I think makes our relationship special.
How has your sports management degree helped you in both being a referee and a hockey manager?
So I'm able to use a lot of what I've learned in my classes and apply it to being a manager. I'm also an athletic coaching minor. So I'm able to take what I'm learning in my coaching classes and applying it to being with the team. And it's helped me run practices and be effective during games. Because on away games, I'm usually on the bench with the guys during the game. So I'm helping them out that way. And I can't wait to see as I'm in my upper division classes right now. So I think as time goes on and I really start applying my skills, then it'll get better. But I've really learned a lot, and I've just been able to apply what I'm learning in each of my classes now to the players. And it's been better this year than it was last year, just because I wasn't really in my upper division classes yet. But last semester and this semester, I'm in my higher level classes that I'm really able to apply things to.
What are some of your future plans for after college?
So I'll graduate with my bachelor's degree from St. Cloud State in December of 2022. And then in the fall of 2023, I plan to start graduate school. I'm looking at institutions that are in the Big Ten Conference. So I'm going to get my master's of science in sport and exercise psychology. And then from there, I'm going to get my PhD in like sports administration and sports leadership.
Congratulations. What advice would you give upcoming future hockey managers looking to get started?
I would say be very committed to the team that you're working for. Really get to know your athletes, get to know the coaches, and really put yourself out there. I like to go and talk to the visiting team, their coaches. I've made friends with a lot of the other players from teams that we've played. So I think just putting yourself out there and really wanting to form, if you're able to, because some teams won't allow this, like really just forming a close bond with your players, because it's made my experience so much better getting to know them off the ice and just like hanging out with them, and also like having that manager player relationship, but also like having a really close friendship with them, because it does make my time in college like way better knowing that I have a group of guys that are always there for me no matter what.
That's so amazing. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
So you can find me on Instagram at Calista_Mezzapelle 53. You can find me on Twitter at CMezzapelle 53. And you can also find me on Facebook, and you can find me on LinkedIn, my first and last name, Calista Mezzapelle.
Thank you again, Calista Mezzapelle, for your interview, and best of luck as the manager for club men's hockey this upcoming year.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Calista, for your interview, and best of luck.
Thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.